So my journey starts in Shanghai in China. I was born there, and I was born into a modest family. We lived in a place actually quite similar to a lot of the houses here in Nepal and Madam Singh. We had pictures on the walls. My mum put old calendars of beautiful buildings and places around the world, beautiful houses, all over the walls and the ceilings. So every night we would look up at the ceilings and around the walls of just all these beautiful places around the world that I would love to visit. When I was 6 years old, I was lucky enough to go to Australia to join my dad. And when I moved to Australia, my family were street vendors. So I would help my parents sell products in the street, products from China that we would sell on the streets by Sydney Opera House, by Sydney Bridge, in Chinatown, and we would make a living that way. When I was 13 years old, my mother and I left Australia to go to the UK, to go to London. My parents had divorced, so it was just my mum and I. She couldn't speak English fluently and she struggled to get a job, so she started working at a market stall in London. But very quickly we struggled to make ends meet, and we were struggling to pay the bills, and we just couldn't keep up with the rent, and we were about to be kicked out, we were about to be homeless. And so I decided to start a business to help my mum earn some money and to make us financially independent. And my dream back then was to get a really good education, to continue studying, to make enough money to help me go to a good school, pay for my university bills so that I could graduate and get a fantastic job that pays really well. So I studied really hard during the weekdays, Monday to Friday, and every evening I would make body scrubs in my mum's kitchen at home, and every weekend I would sell these body scrubs at Greenwich Market in London, the market where my mum also worked. And it was a really simple body scrub recipe, one that my grandmother used to make in Australia, and it was just a jam jar filled with sea salts and oils and natural essential oils, and I'd put it onto people's hands over the weekend, ask them to rub their hands together, and when I rinsed off the sea salts and dried their hands for them, their skin would feel really soft and they would buy the body scrub. And that was how we made a living. And actually, I ran my business alongside my studies and made a lot of money. I was able to fund my way through education, through university, and eventually buy my mum a house. I actually drew a picture of the house that I wanted to buy for my mum and stuck it on the back of our door so that every day before I left for school or for work, I would see this house and I was reminded what I was working for, whether it was studying or going to the markets. And then when I graduated from university, I actually got a job in finance. I worked at an investment bank. But very quickly I realized that I actually preferred to run my own business. So I went back to running my business with the knowledge that I got from my education. Maths was my favorite. I studied economics, and that really helped with my business. And I just grew my business from then on end. And with the education that I've had, I was able to grow quite a big business. And in the same way that I was selling my products at a market stall before, we now have 20,000 people who sell my products across the UK. And they do what I did. They sell the products on commission and make a lot of money. And now we are able to give back. You know, I was very lucky that I had the privilege of education when I was growing up. And a lot of people didn't have that education. And that's why we do what we do today. So from a very young age, my mother always told me that education was the most important thing. It was the thing that was going to give you choice and infinite opportunities when you grow up. And it has to start when you are as young as possible. And having had the privilege of education and seeing children my age when I was younger who didn't have education, and just the difference of our livelihoods, I've always had a thought in the back of my mind that I wanted to give back and to help those who didn't have the same opportunity that I did. And the only way to do that is to build schools and put fantastic teachers in there. And we decided to partner with United World Schools because they are an amazing charity that have the same drive and ambition to help those who are underprivileged, to help teach the unreached. And we decided to build a school in Nepal because Nepal is such a beautiful country. It's so close to China, which is my hometown. I think I look a little bit Nepalese as well, so when I see the beautiful Nepalese people, I think these are my people. And I feel what they feel. And last night I stayed in this wonderful home with pictures and newspapers and magazine pictures all over the walls, and I thought, this is the room that I grew up in. This is how I lived when I was a child. And these children, if we don't build them a school, then they have no future. They have no choice. They are stuck in the same cycle that their parents are stuck in. And I think as someone who knows that journey, who has been through education and who has the privilege to be able to give back, it is my responsibility to give back, to help solve the problem. It would be wrong if I didn't help, knowing that I can and knowing that I should. And so that's why we give back. That's why we help. That's why we built this incredible school in Nepal to help the people here, because Nepal is an amazing country with amazing people and so much potential and such hard-working people who want the best for their lives, their children, their country. All they need is education to get them there. And we want to help to be part of that solution. And that's why we're here. We're helping because we can.